Julie Chrisley punished for complaining too much in prison. Julie Chrisley's status with the Bureau of Prisons has been listed as not in custody for a few weeks now. Many people believe this is because the Chrisley Knows Best star is being transported for her upcoming resentencing hearing. However, fans think that her longer travel time is due to her behavior behind bars. Here's what they're saying. Is Julie Chrisley being punished with slow transfer? There has been some speculation about where Julie Chrisley is since she has been listed as not in BOP custody. The reality TV star needs to be relocated to Atlanta for her upcoming hearing. It could take a day or two to transfer her to a new facility, but it seems like Julie has been in limbo for a while now. A Chrisley Knows Best fan pointed out that prisons typically put people through weeks of travel in the system because of how they act. One Reddit user posted about Julie Chrisley's 3+ weeks of being transported. They said that a podcaster who is a felon has recently talked about the transfer process. Most of it is a rather miserable experience. There is no entertainment, no access to a phone, and you have to be cuffed the entire time. Even if you only had to travel 100 miles, the warden might choose a route that would have you pinballing across the country. Every night, the prisoners have to check into a new location. The Reddit user said that the felon podcaster claimed it was the warden's favorite thing to do if an inmate was complaining a lot. So someone like Julie Chrisley could be put through a slow transfer to wherever she needed to be. I have a feeling Julie is not having a good few weeks, as she's moved to Atlanta for the hearing, the person concluded the post. Chrisley Knows Best star to appear in court this month. Others were quick to chime in with their thoughts. One person claimed the slow transfer was the worst punishment any inmate could have. They call it diesel therapy, and it is every bit as bad as you've ever heard it was. Another person pointed out it isn't uncommon for inmates to have several layovers on their way to where they need to be. A third person chastised Julie. The amount of complaining and blame shifting along with lack of any remorse by these cretins is exactly why Julie is taking the long route. Todd and Julie Chrisley were found guilty of tax evasion and bank fraud in 2022. Julie was sentenced to 7 years in prison, and Todd received 12. The couple reported for their prison terms in January 2023, and in September their sentences were reduced. Todd's reduced sentence will bring him home 2 years earlier, and Julie's sentence was reduced by 14 months. The Chrisley Knows Best star sentence was then vacated in July. It was determined that there wasn't sufficient evidence to claim that Julie was aware of the fraud prior to 2007. As we previously reported, Julie Chrisley attempted to get out of having to appear in court for her resentencing. However, a judge ruled that she would need to be there in person. The walls of Federal Medical Center Lexington are cold and unwelcoming, not unlike the circumstances that brought Julie Chrisley there. Once known for her glamorous life on reality TV, Julie Chrisley now finds herself far removed from the designer clothes, sprawling mansions, and extravagant vacations she and her family flaunted on Chrisley Knows Best. But life behind bars has proven to be a humbling experience for the matriarch of the Chrisley family, and rumors swirling from inside those stone walls suggest that her adjustment to prison life hasn't been smooth sailing. Some even say that Julie's complaints have landed her in deeper trouble. From privilege to prison blues. Julie Chrisley's world was turned upside down in 2022 when she and her husband, Todd Chrisley, were convicted of tax evasion and bank fraud. After years of portraying an image of wealth and privilege, the Chrisleys were accused of using their reality TV show to cover up millions of dollars in fraudulent activity. They both received lengthy sentences, Julie, 7 years, and Todd, 12. As the Chrisley couple settled into their respective prisons, Todd in Florida and Julie in Kentucky, The harsh reality of their new life started to take hold. Gone were the silk sheets and catered meals, replaced with prison uniforms, limited commissary items, and a rigid routine. For someone accustomed to the finer things in life, the adjustment was bound to be difficult. But word from inside Julie's prison suggests that the transition has been harder on her than most. Complaints and consequences. Sources from within the prison report that Julie has been vocal about her dissatisfaction with the living conditions. From the food, which she allegedly compared to dog slop, to the cramped quarters, which were a far cry from her spacious, multi-million-dollar home, Julie hasn't shied away from airing her grievances. But in prison, where discipline and routine are paramount, constant complaints can quickly become a problem. Corrections officers expect inmates to adapt to their new environment without fuss. The more Julie complained, the more attention she drew to herself, and not the good kind. According to inside whispers, Julie's frequent griping caught the attention of prison staff, and they were less than pleased. Rumors spread that the reality star's attitude had led to disciplinary action, possibly even in the form of reduced privileges. Inmates in federal prisons can earn small privileges, such as access to commissary items, phone time, or visitation, but they can also lose these privileges as punishment for bad behavior. While it's unclear exactly what form of discipline, if any, was enforced on Julie, those familiar with the situation suggest that her complaints did not go unnoticed by the authorities. The struggle to adjust. It's easy to imagine how someone like Julie Chrisley might struggle with the drastic change from her life of luxury to prison's harsh realities. As a public figure, she's always been under scrutiny, but now the cameras have shifted from adoring fans to the ever-watchful eyes of prison staff. Inmates are expected to follow strict schedules, keep their cells clean, and comply with rules they may not agree with. But for someone like Julie, who is used to being in control of her environment, adapting to a life of restrictions must be an overwhelming challenge. Prison is designed to break down a person's sense of entitlement and foster conformity. Julie's celebrity status, which might have afforded her leniency in the outside world, holds no sway behind bars. There's no red carpet in the mess hall, no velvet ropes separating her from the rest of the prison population. Julie is just another inmate in a sea of orange jumpsuits, and her complaints likely only serve to alienate her further from both staff and fellow inmates. Seeking special treatment. Some reports have even suggested that Julie may have been seeking special treatment due to her status as a reality TV star. While this hasn't been confirmed, there's no doubt that inmates with celebrity status sometimes expect preferential treatment, whether consciously or not. In the world Julie came from, her wealth and fame could open doors, but in prison, those same qualities can shut them quickly. It's possible that Julie's complaints were seen as an attempt to leverage her fame to get what she wanted, something that would certainly have backfired in a federal institution where equality of treatment is the rule. The psychological toll of incarceration. There's no doubt that the psychological strain of incarceration is taking its toll on Julie Chrisley. Even the strongest individuals can struggle with the mental and emotional challenges of prison life. Separation from family, loss of freedom, and the stark contrast between life before and after incarceration can lead to depression, anxiety, and frustration. For Julie, the realization that her once glamorous life has been reduced to a small, shared cell and cafeteria food must be a bitter pill to swallow. As someone who took pride in her home and family, being stripped of those comforts is likely an emotional burden she struggles to carry. Complaining may be one of the few ways Julie feels she can exert some control over her situation, but it's clear that it's doing more harm than good.